Am I the asshole for not correcting my son when he told his stepfather, my husband, off? I have been married to my husband Jeremy since my son, Chris, was 8. He is now 17. My husband and him have a fantastic relationship, despite what the title may sound like. My birthday is in 2 weeks and I honestly haven't put much thought into it. My husband is not a gift giver. He says he has a hard time figuring out what to get and doesn't want to waste money on something that people won't use. He is also a practical person, whereas I'm by far the sentimental type. So even when he does get me something, it's something I can use every day. Which, no big deal obviously, but I've requested some sentimental pieces and he just never gets them. So I pretty much gave up on ever asking for anything, and it did really bother me for a number of years, but it truly doesn't bother me now usually. Well, my son graduated a year early and doesn't start college until next year. So currently he works 2 jobs, his choice. I've asked him to cut back and enjoy his teen years before adulthood, but working just makes him happy. So he works at a mechanic shop and a junkyard. Most of his buddies work there too, so at least he is getting in time with friends. Well, my husband hates spending money and tries inflicting that on us. He lives as frugally as physically possible and saves every single dime that he can. He could retire right this second and wouldn't be able to go through all the money he has saved. My son comes home last night with 3 of his buddies that work with him and he's like, "I know it's not for 2 more weeks, but I can't wait for you to open this, so please open it now." Him and his buddies are snickering about it, so I thought it would be some gag gift, but much to my surprise, it was a huge, absolutely gorgeous wall piece that has photo frames and shelves built in. My husband immediately was like, "Wow, how much did that cost?" That could have went into a IRA Rose account, IDK if I said that right. My son immediately shots cold daggers at my husband and says, "It's truly none of your business what I do with my money, and since you outright refuse to buy my mother nice things that she absolutely deserves, I will make sure she gets something nice. And for the record, we made this ourselves. Didn't cost us anything." My husband just stops talking, looks at me waiting for me to say something, and when I don't he shakes his head and walks off. After the boys leave he says I allowed Chris to embarrass him in front of other people and I should have said something. I simply told him that Chris was right. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your son is an almost adult who works 2 jobs. He shouldn't even be questioned where his money is going. Also, it is in really bad taste to ask how much a gift costs, especially in front of the recipient. He embarrassed himself. If he's been raising your son since he was 8, there is no reason to look to you for correction if he thought it was necessary. I love how your son stood up for you and I applaud him. He said what needed to be said, especially given your husband's nosy reaction. You are not the asshole. Lol, your husband got wrecked. He should be embarrassed for being miserly. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Husband stuck his nose in where it didn't belong, got it chopped off. Not the asshole. Absolutely not. I can't stand it when adults with brains turn into babies the moment something is asked of them. It's your birthday. Your son was quite right and your husband knows it. Grr on your behalf. Not the asshole. Chris was right. I struggle sometimes with coming up with sentimental gifts for certain people because some people are just trickier than others. That said, it's important to still try. When people say, "It's the thought that counts," that only works if you put actual thought into it. You can't say that if you just went to the store and grabbed a random practical thing that is actually for the house, etc., and claim that it's the thought that counts. Your husband tried to shame your son for doing something thoughtful and kind. Your husband was prioritizing money over giving you something sweet and thoughtful. That's kinda a problem. Am I the asshole for taking my daughter to the restaurant my stepdaughter forbid us from? Hi. IF 36 married Jeff M 39 2 years ago. He has a daughter, Alicia 16, from his previous marriage, and I have a daughter, Morgan 12, from my previous marriage as well. Alicia isn't closer to me nor Morgan, and she always has something to be upset about. For example, when me and Morgan moved in with her and Jeff, she tried to control where we can and can't go. What areas I was allowed to redecorate and put my furniture in, what room Morgan got, etc. Her excuse was that she wanted to keep the house how her mom left it as much as possible. Jeff asked us to be more patient and she'd come around eventually. She did come around, but still tries to control other areas of mine and Morgan's life. I had a million conversation that ended up with her throwing a tantrum. Jeff talked to her and told her to not try to control what Morgan and I do, ever. And she agreed. Morgan's birthday was days ago. We planned to celebrate at a restaurant and let Morgan choose which one. She picked a really nice restaurant that isn't over the top expensive and we agreed the party would be there. However, when Alicia heard which restaurant we were going to, she went off on me and Morgan and said that we can't go to that restaurant because she had tons of memories there of her perfect old family, and she won't let us taint the memory for her. I found this beyond illogical and unreasonable. I told her she could stay home, but she said it wasn't about her being there, it was about the idea of me and Morgan being there with Jeff as family, when it used to be her mom and Jeff. We got into an argument and Jeff told me to tell Morgan to just pick another restaurant, but I snapped and told him Alicia had no right to dictate where me and my daughter go and he shouldn't be encouraging her. He told me he wasn't encouraging anything, just trying to keep all parties satisfied. He told me to get Morgan to change the restaurant or he won't go. That was it for me. I decided I wasn't going to change it just because they wanted me to and ended up going with Morgan to celebrate with just my mom. Morgan of course felt upset her stepdad missed her birthday celebration. When I pointed this out to him, he argued that I literally gained nothing by insisting on this particular restaurant and upsetting Alicia, who is refusing to speak to any of us, even him, and ruined his relationship with Morgan. I said it was Morgan's choice, but he said I was the adult in this situation and have failed to navigate through it. Am I the asshole for still going to the restaurant although Alicia forbid us from it? I just wanted to make Morgan feel like she has a say and right to spend her birthday however she wanted. No, her mom is alive. I don't know why some here assume she's deceased. She's alive and Alicia sees her weekly. Tell your husband he needs to be an adult and a parent and not let a 16-year-old run his life. That being said, is Alicia seeing a counselor at all? If not, it sounds like she could really benefit from some professional help. Not the asshole. Your edit about her mother being alive was helpful because those behaviors about the house and special places would be more understandable and expected if she lost her mom. Before I saw the edit I assumed her mother had passed away based on her reasons and behaviors. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Why does this hormonal 16-year-old child have more say in your marriage than you do? This is absolutely ridiculous. Alicia needs to get into therapy, Jeff should join. I understand Alicia's feelings, but that does not give her the right to have that much control. Not the asshole. Alicia is on a power trip and trying to exert control over you and Morgan. The idea that she should be able to dictate what restaurant you and Morgan go to on Morgan's birthday is laughable, to say the least. Jeff is abdicating his role as father to simply placate his daughter. He either lacks the will or the courage to take her in hand. He is the one that ruined his relationship with Morgan. He chose to placate Alicia over celebrating Morgan on Morgan's birthday. He's just not a good father. You can tell him I said so. And you were right to not give in to Alicia. Her demands would only escalate if you had. NTA. We do not negotiate with emotional terrorists. I'm 16. My parents are divorced. She seriously needs to get over it. She still sees her mum. I'd understand a bit more if she was dead, but she isn't. Alicia needs to get over herself. So no, not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my Sil she reaped what she sowed? I married my husband 7 years ago. At the time his sister was the only one with kids and it was made clear to me that I was not aunt and I have been essentially made to be a stranger to Sil's children by her own choice. She even taught her children that I am not an aunt. As a result of this I am not close to them like I am my husband's other siblings' children, who are my nieces and nephews, and I am their aunt. I believe I am a fun and generous aunt. I spend time with my nieces and nephews. I have painted stuff in their rooms for them as gifts because I am artsy. Sometimes I'll take them for fun little trips or buy them stuff. Even as a mom now I like to do that because I love those kids and I never had a family, so it's nice to have people who want me. I don't do any of this with Sil's kids. I don't even try to speak to them anymore when I am at the same place as them because Sil has made such a big deal out of it. It seemed like I was supposed to ignore them and so I wasn't going to start drama or cause trouble for them by interacting, because I'm almost certain she told them not to talk to me. Now her kids are jealous and hurt that their cousins have cool paintings in their rooms or get to do XYZ and they don't. She came to me and bitched about it and told me I was an asshole for making her kids feel that way. I told her that was her fault, not mine. That she set the tone. She made it so I wasn't related to her kids and thus her kids' hurt was her fault. I told her she reaped what she sowed and her poor kids were the biggest victim in it all. Of course she's pissed and now she's all like see, she's a bad person and this is why I didn't want my kids to think of her as their aunt. The rest of the family are just rolling their eyes. But I know this didn't help. I also know it doesn't fix anything with her kids, who I do feel bad for. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Sil sounds like a troubled soul, though. Not the asshole, and the family is rolling their eyes at this lady's BS. If anyone said anything, I would go overt on the malicious compliance. I'd never undermine the decision if another mother, and when I was asked to step back from being an auntie those 7 or so years ago, it hurt, but I listened. I'm sorry that things are this way now, but I had to respect her as a parent. I didn't draw the lines. Not the asshole, she didn't want you in their life and you respected that. Not the asshole. You followed her instructions to not be their aunt. Sounds like the rest of the family knows she's a moron, too. Not the asshole. Your Sil sounds exhausting. She wants it 2 ways and can't get it. Honestly, I hope her kids reach out and try to get a relationship on their own despite their mothers trying to find a nice word for it but don't have it. Heck, despite their mother. That works. Not the asshole. I would say, however, as her kids get older, please allow them to make their own relationship with you if they want. Am I the asshole for not being mad at my daughter and thinking she's actually pretty funny? This is such a ridiculous situation that I feel like an asshole just for posting, but my wife is legitimately peeved, so Reddit, tell me if I'm too blinded by amusement to see clearly or if this is objectively funny and not worth punishing our kid about. My 43M dad 64M used to love taking us on adventures as kids, but he's slowed down recently. He still loves spending time with my daughter, 12F. Okay, so dad decided to introduce daughter to his favorite childhood shows, and for whatever reason, she loves them. Star Trek, Bonanza, The Andy Griffith Show, all of it. She's hooked. She thinks it's all fantastic. Okay, fun fact about my daughter, she loves Googling fun facts. Her favorite phrase is, "Did you know?" Like we'll drive past a sign saying we're X miles from some location and she whips out that phone and is like, "Did you know X location is the salamander capital of the world?" It's really cute and annoying at the same time. So last week she comes downstairs and says, "Did you know ABC made Burt Ward take pills to shrink his?" Totally deadpan. Didn't even crack. When I tell you, I wheezed. She showed me the article and yep, they did. The 60s, what a time. Wife was mad. She told daughter to never use that word or we were going to wash her mouth out with soap, empty threat. Daughter pouted and went about her day. Next day, she told dad, who didn't believe her at first and then absolutely lost it when he read the article she pulled up. I can't remember the last time I saw him laugh that hard. Wife came out, heard what the commotion was about and told daughter if she brought it up again, she was in big trouble. Well, today, one of my wife's friends called while the girls were having a playdate and you'll never guess what my daughter did. You'll never guess in a million years. Go on. Guess. Yeah, she told the story to her little friend, who also thought it was hilarious. Mother did not. Wife is furious now and says we need to come up with a punishment. I don't want to punish her. I think if we stop making a big deal about it, she'll get bored of it eventually. Wife's argument is that she's doing it for attention. Duh. She's 12. But she's gonna learn about this stuff in health class soon anyway. Might as well get the giggles out of her system now. Am I the asshole for not supporting my wife and dragging my heels on punishing daughter? Wife says even if I'm right, we at least need to punish her for disobeying us. I say, the harder we come down, the more she will push back. Small update. Wife and I did end up agreeing by the time daughter was dropped off not to punish her. Instead, we reiterated some sex ed stuff and told her it's important to keep subject matter appropriate to situation. She was receptive to these messages. Dad comes over for dinner almost every day, and he usually shows up early. So he got here half an hour ago, and daughter set up the TV and they start watching Batman on Tubi, OFC. 5 minutes in, dad leans over to daughter. Dad. Daughter's name. Daughter. Yeah, Grandpa? Dad. I can see Robins. Daughter and dad both lost it. I look at wife. Her face is totally blank. I can tell she's seething on the inside. She says she's going to take a bubble bath. She's still in there. IDK if I should bring her a glass of wine to mellow her out or leave her the hell alone. Thanks dad. NTA she's 12, she keeps bringing it up cause she gets a reaction from mom. Just to ignore it and she'll stop. Not the asshole, she's 12 and dick jokes are funny. She doesn't need to be punished, but she does need to know that there is a time and place for them. Wait? What is the word? Not the asshole. Do not allow your wife to punish your daughter for this. She is way overreacting. In my opinion she's 12 and it's just a word for a body part. Your wife is WAAAAY overreacting. Also, at the age of 12 she should already know all these things. Age-appropriate information about body parts and things is important and waiting for school to teach it is such a horrible idea. She's going to, probably already has since she's online, learn from the internet. Your kid sounds fantastic. Her love for fun facts is not only going to give her some great knowledge, random about a little bit of everything, but it's given her wonderful curiosity and her sense of humor is fabulous. It depends on what word she used. If it was a bad word, I would correct her on that, and have a conversation about what is appropriate to discuss with certain groups of people or in certain situations, places. But, it's just genitalia. Your wife needs to stop acting so precious. Not the asshole.